What's up, J Fusion fans? This is Philip, and welcome back to a brand new video. And Merry Christmas to everyone. So, I hope you have a wonderful holiday out there. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you enjoy whatever you are celebrating. So, for this video, before we start, as always, I would like to remind everyone that these videos that we make are not intended for viewers under the age of 13, and some spoilers just in case, because we are going to talk about Kamen Rider Saikou and the possible secret of the Sword of Logos. So in this video, we're going to talk about who this new Kamen Rider is and some interesting developments regarding the Sword of Logos itself. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. So let's get started. Now, Kamen Rider Psycho, aka Yuri. So we now have a name for the brand new rider that's coming out soon. And this character has been with us very early on already, actually. So during episode 7, when Toma went to Avalon in order to obtain the King of Arthur Wonder Ride book, as well as the King Excalibur power up, he met a hooded man, and this is Yuri. However, during that time, he did not reveal who he is yet, or at least there wasn't any information about this character. So we just referred to him as the mysterious hooded man. So he was in Avalon, but there was a comment that I found somewhere on Facebook, and someone answered as well. So the question was, why didn't Yuri himself use the power of King of Arthur and the King Excalibur? So someone who answered that said maybe it's because he wasn't worthy, which makes sense because if Yuri was worthy enough for the power of, the King of Arthur Wonder Ride book, then he could have used it himself. But he was there guarding that Wonder Ride book, waiting for the right time and the right person to come and use its power. In that case, it was Toma. So he did mention that there are going to be trials for anyone who uses the power of the King of Arthur. So, in order to use King Excalibur to its full potential, anyone who wishes to use the Wonder Ride book must overcome trials, and Toma did so. However, Yuri's appearance did not end there. In fact, in episodes 12 to 13, I believe, so he already appears again, and this time he appears with Tassel. So we do see that he knows Tassel, and they have they have some interaction. So it's interesting to see what they are going to do together. And as for their agenda, we don't know just yet. So we're going to have to stay tuned to see further developments in that plot. So as for Yuri's form, Kamen Rider Psycho, so he uses the Kogoken Psycho and the Wonder Ride book called Kin Nobuki Gin Nobuki. So let's talk about the Wonder Ride book that the Psycho will use. So the story is actually based on a Japanese folklore, which involves a young man who one day goes into the forest to find some wood. He brings his trusty axe with him, but suddenly he drops the axe into a lake. So the spirit of the lake appears to the young man holding two axes, one made of gold, one made of silver, and asks the young man, which one of these axes did you drop? The gold axe or the silver axe? So the young man chooses neither. So he was just looking for his axe. impressed by the young man's modesty and honesty, the spirit of the lake returned the axe to the young man and gave him both the gold and silver axes as a bonus. And it made the young man, very wealthy for the rest of his life. So that was basically the story of the golden axe and the silver axe. So again, this became the inspiration for Kinnoboki Ginnoboki. So yeah, now as for his fighting style, so the sword that Saikou uses, he pretty much is the closest that we have to a rapier wielding rider. So compared to swords like Kaien Kendeka, uh, Saikou's sword is very slim. Again, if you put it side by side with the blades of Deka, for example. So he is most likely the rapier user of the bunch. And for his element is light. And what is interesting about Kamen Rider Psycho is even though his element is light, his actual rider design, so his actual suit is primarily black. So again, it's interesting to see because for a character whose element is light, you would expect something like white. But it kind of makes sense if you think that, because there is light, it casts shadows as well. But again, that's just the effect of light. So, I mean, look at this for example. So, if I put my hand wherever, so let's just, you know, if, you know, you can see that I'm putting my hand over myself and there's light, but because there's light, it casts shadows as well. So, that's how I put it into logic. But nonetheless, yeah, black is an interesting choice, and considering that there is a dark element rider already, which is Caliber. So now we're going to move on into the more spoiler-ish territory. So if you haven't seen Kamen Rider Saber episode 15 yet, I highly suggest you watch it first, then come back to this part of the video. Otherwise, be warned. So, by episode 15, Toma and the rest of the uh, sort of Logos members from the northern base, so they fought a really big battle in order to save the city and basically save the world in the process. So you know, Toma was fighting against Caliber, and the other Logos riders were fighting against the members of Megiddo. And I think that battle was such, how do you say, like it was put in a grand scale, like it would have been that same quality that you would see in like the final battles of the show. And it really was action packed. Now you notice I wasn't able to make a superhero time review for that, but if I were to rate Kamen Rider Saber episode 15, I would actually give it 5 out of 5 because of how action packed it was. And like it's kind of like the same quality that you would actually see in the movie, or again like in the final episodes of the show, and executing them early. So I'm I'm really starting to see high expectations here. And personally, I don't, expect too much. I just enjoy what I watch, really. But, you know, if they can pull it off this early, they could pull it off again much later in the show. That's what I'm saying. So, after that battle, you would expect everyone to be, the best of friends and the closest of allies. They've gone through so much. And of course, Toma having fought alongside these other swordsmen, of course, you would expect they would have formed a bond. But come the preview for episode 16, which is, uh, by the way, going to come out in a couple of days, everything suddenly changes unexpectedly. So, in the preview for episode 16, the other swordsman from the northern base suddenly turn on Toma. So, they demand that he return his Seiken sword driver and Kaien Kendeka, and Toma refusing to do that causes a fight. And of course, he is outnumbered. So, this kind of development, so it was very sudden, and I'm not saying it's bad, but it is interesting. So having fought together such after such a hard battle, you fought together, and suddenly the people that you would think have become your closest friends suddenly turn their swords on you, and you know Toma is just as confused. So of course, he's attacked by the other riders. They gang up on him, and here comes Yuri to save the day, pulling out his Kogo Ken Saikou. So this is where episode 16, kind of comes into its high point. But this episode, this coming episode, actually brings up a huge point that we are going to talk about right now. And this is the secret of the Sword of Logos. So, as mentioned actually by Daichi Kamijo himself, Kamen Rider Caliber, uh, so he mentioned during his fight with Toma that there is indeed a traitor in the Sword of Logos. So he thought initially that it was uh, Hayato Fukamiya, the previous Kamen Rider Caliber, and also Kento's father. So he thought that Hayato betrayed the organization, but he learns that it's not actually Hayato himself, but something or someone changed him to be that way. And in order to uh, search for the truth, in order to find the truth, he took upon himself to become Kamen Rider Caliber, and using that, hopefully, to find out who this actual traitor is. So, in- and during episode 16's preview, Reika Shindai also approaches Toma, saying that she wants to recruit him into the southern base. So, if they are both branches of the same organization, why would you recruit someone from the other half? So it means that there is something that causes a rift between the northern and southern base. So there is someone, or maybe a group of people within the Sword of Logos in general, and who are hiding something which could probably be more sinister and more dangerous than Megiddo itself. So whatever it is, definitely we would have to watch out for. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. So what do you think is going to happen with the Sword of Logos? What kind of secrets do they hold? So as always, thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like. Again, comment on this video what you think. Share this video, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you on the next video. Again, Merry Christmas!